Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Riviera Gourmet headquarters here in the south of France. As most of you know, the summer is truly here. It's June, I think the 11th now. It's complete madness everywhere. We're getting ready for that really full-on charter season. It started this week and it's going to get busier and busier. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't do another live show, and that's exactly why we're here today. So welcome back to Saturday Yacht Kitchen. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to be back on Saturday Yacht Kitchen, and we have a fantastic chef with us all the way from Hungary and the yachting industry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chef Victoria. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
I think it's great that you've come right in the middle of a busy season, and yet you've made time for us today to come here and do this.
Well,
I think
you
it's
are
fantastic.
lucky today because I have this day free, and the next one is already booked again.
So you're busy literally from tomorrow morning, you're rocking and rolling.
Well, kinda, yeah. I'm a freelance chef, so I'm freelancing a lot, and I'm kinda booked. We started the season with a Monaco Grand Prix and a Cannes Film Festival. After I went to Saint-Tropez, I did another gig over there. And yes, now I'm here with you.
Great, I think it's fantastic. Now, tell us just very quickly a little bit about you, where you've come from, your background.
Well, I'm from Hungary, and I come from very far from the kitchen because I started my career as a banker.
Oh,
and
as in a...
I was a regional manager, a regional director in a car financing bank.
Oh, really?
In
Wow.
Hungary. Yes, and after 10 years in that career, I realized it's not for me. So I started to travel, and I was looking for something what is close to me. And I find myself on a boat in Florida, and I started to work as a deck stew. So it wasn't even the kitchen, but by an accident, I end up in the kitchen, and I started to cook for one dinner, and after another dinner and another dinner came, and I realized this is where my heart is.
Wow.
And after that I just worked as a cook stew, and because I still love that thing going on and I still love the cooking part, I realized that's the way where I have to go. So here in France I went to a really high-end culinary school.
Oh, cool. So you weren't culinary trained before that? You decided to do it after the banking career?
I became a culinary trained chef after when I realized cooking is my passion.
Well, show us what you're going to cook. What are you going to do today?
Well, today I'm going to do a cold starter.
You're going to do a
cold starter.
Okay.
As scallops. And that scallops I cured like almost like a gravlax.
Yeah.
But I used Campari, sugar and salt.
Okay, great.
And I'm gonna serve it on a cucumber carpaccio.
Nice.
And with some nice dressing. I will talk about it. And as a main course, I'm gonna cook my favorite dish, which is ratatouille.
Okay, do you like the movie?
Oh, I love the movie.
Well, let's get the first course going, and then we'll talk about a little bit more history of yourself, what you do, what you like for cooking, and we'll go from there. So, what this first dish you've already like almost cured?
Yes. Well, you know, gravlax. I mean, I'm sure you do gravlax. When we do gravlax, it's basically we cure the salmon with salt and sugar.
Yeah.
And it's make it a little bit dense, and you can add different flavors to it, like dill and if you want other herbs. I used Campari this time.
So you used Campari for this? Wow.
Yes. So I used sugar and salt and Campari.
And how long has that been curing for?
Well, for a Campari, I usually do it a previous night, but the next day I add the sugar and the salt, because if you leave it for so long, then it's became too dense.
Okay.
And it's just gonna be just like a rubber chewy thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to be really careful with that. So that's what we're gonna have. But first of all, I'm gonna do the cucumber carpaccio.
Okay, so to talk us through as you go. So what makes you enjoy this dish? I mean, what is it about scallops that you like? Because a lot of people would always take a scallop and just literally pan fry it.
Well, that's
That's basically
boring.
what people do. It is, you know, it is really boring. It's so nice to see somebody.
Scallops is a really interesting shellfish. I really like it. It's beautiful when you have that in the shell and you just open it and you see the whole scallops over there. And grill it, you can find it everywhere. But it has so many options what you can do with scallops. And one of the options what I tried is with Campari. And it's not just for a look, but the taste. It's
Are you a Campari drinker?
I'm not a drinker. I'm not really a drinker. I'm not a big fan of alcohol. If I drink, sometimes it's rosé.
Champagne.
No, it's rosé. It's you are in south of France. What do you drink?
Yeah.
Rosé.
Yeah. No, and I get that. I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, everybody in the south of France, everywhere you go, you see people just drinking rosé, which is such a famous drink from the region. And such a refreshing drink on a hot summer's day as well.
Yes.
If you want an alcoholic drink, it's a nice way to go. Have you ever thought about curing your scallops in a rosé wine?
With the rosé wine, I haven't tried it yet, but it's a good idea to do.
I mean, the only reason I say it is get the same colour, which is quite nice to have that difference in colour. I don't think it would dye the scallop quite as much as Campari, unless you had one of those really dark rosés. But I don't think it would as much. Wow.
I'm gonna slice it very thin, and you can see.
Yeah, you can see the red line through there.
You can try.
Okay, thank you very much. And you can see this. So I'll bring the camera up just so you can see that there. And then as you turn it over, you can see the little lines through it of the red as it's cured it, which is nice. So you a big scallop fan?
I love scallops. Yes.
And when did you first taste a scallop?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it was in America first when Hungary is not really a sea country. We don't have any sea.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, all the fish from the sea was new. Still learning them. I love them. I love to try them.
It's really different with the alcohol on there as well.
Yes.
Completely different taste, different flavour.
And different texture.
Yeah,
it's a little bit,
It's much softer than a normal cooked scallop.
Because you could cure it, and also work with the fresh scallops. It's.
So these scallops you have today, are these obviously they're coming out of a shell, but have these been defrosted, or have these been prepared
No. I
from
bought
shell?
it yesterday with the shell, and I de-shelled it, so it's totally fresh. They were alive yesterday.
They were alive, yes, just here. Yep.
Okay.
So these were alive yesterday. Now they're on a plate.
And now it's
Amazing.
on your plate.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna dress with a little honey lemon dressing. And
So honey, where's it from?
And that's honey what I brought with me. It's from Hungary. And I want you, if you give a little try, it's with chili.
So I'm a big honey fan, and Hungarian honey it's very famous for Hungarian. For honey.
It's Dr. Honey is a very, very famous honey, not just in Hungary, but in.
Oh wow, it's really got a nice.
It's strong, yes. It's not just in Hungary, but all over the world. They got a million different awards.
Yeah, it's got a nice kick to it. It's not too much, but it's got a kick, which is nice to have.
Exactly.
But I love honey, and we sell a lot of honey, and a lot of chefs over the years have asked for Hungarian Black Forest honey, which is something that's quite famous, I think, from Hungary, and really nice. Whenever chefs ask for these things, I always get some extra, have some in stock, and I always taste it and try it. But I think if you're going to have...
You take it with you home?
Well, yeah, no, I do. I mean, basically at home I've got so many different things that I try and taste because I may not have tried it before. I may never have even heard of it. But it's so nice to have that opportunity to taste it. And I'm really lucky that I'm in this industry because a lot of the projects I would never try, you know? and it's nice.
Well, it's from Tokaj, which is one area in Hungary,
Okay.
which is very famous for a dessert wine.
Okay.
If you heard about it, probably you tasted already.
Yeah. I remember the first time I tasted a dessert wine. For me, it was just so sweet, and I still don't really understand dessert wines. Somebody was trying to convince me that it's a good idea to have dessert wine with a dessert, but for me,
No, I'm not agree with that,
Not a
because
big fan.
dessert wine is already a sweet thing.
Yeah.
So drink a dessert wine with a dessert. What's the point?
Exactly.
You need something
Yeah.
to balance that
Yeah.
that sweetness, and that's what I'm gonna do. Balancing the scallop sweetness, I'm gonna balance it with this dressing,
okay.
and
So
also
in your dressing, you have olive oil
olive oil is just
Chili honey.
olive oil, the chili honey, and lemon.
and lemon juice. Okay.
And I also gonna use some lemon zest in
Okay, a
there.
little bit of zest from the outside
Yeah.
as well.
It's always give a little different
Nice, yeah. Perfect.
taste in there. So it's just a very little simple dressing.
And this is what you'd create, just a starter, just to sort of kick the meal off.
Yes, for summer, it's hot. It's a refreshing dish.
Yeah.
And it's really good with a cucumber. Campari
Yeah.
goes with the cucumber. The scallops goes with the cucumber, and this one is just complementing the whole
Let me take
dish. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great. So really, I mean, it's all about preparation with this dish, isn't it? Putting it together is probably the easier part. It's the
Exactly.
It's the preparation
You
in
just
advance.
have to think about all of the ingredients. I also brought some
Caviar, citrus,
caviar,
yeah.
citrus caviar.
Amazing.
But if you like caviar, Riviera Gourmet has a really good caviar. So also we can use those caviars.
Yeah, you could use caviar with a dish like this. I think a nice gold
Yes.
ossietro would be quite nice.
Yes.
Not too high priced, but mixes really well with these flavours, and especially with the scallop, of course.
Yes.
I've never had caviar with scallop and Campari.
But now,
Well, I mean, today that's going to change, isn't it? That's
you can try. You can try.
Today it's all my whole life is gonna change. Basically, that looks really cool. I think it's a good lesson to any yacht chef, and any chef in particular, to be honest with you. If you are concerned about time, this is prepared in advance. It's just putting together.
yeah.
You
The
can do
only-
12 plates of this quite easily and quickly, and that's quite nice. Takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
The only thing what you have to be careful, if you leave the scallops too long in the curing
Yeah.
liquid, then it's became too firm.
Okay, yeah.
Because of the salt and the
Yeah,
sugar.
yeah.
So it's turned into that. And I brought some shisho leaves
Nice.
with me.
Okay, so you're always looking to decorate it in a nice way to give it that little extra look.
I like because when you eat something, you eat it first with your eyes,
Yeah.
and it's not just a taste; it's how it looks.
Yeah, so you put some vinaigrette on there as well.
Vinaigrette, shisho.
Which is almost like a red sorrel leaf, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
Red veined sorrel leaf, which
and
is a mini one.
I use a little borage
Yeah.
here and there, and this is the flour what is give a little bit of garlicky
Yeah.
taste to it. So it's not just a visual. It's,
I grow these in my garden because it's fantastic for all of the fruit that I have, because basically the bees love this. They come to the borage, they just love it. So whenever I go to the garden, especially in the evening time, it's like a forest of these, and I see so many bees. And it means all of my little strawberries, raspberries, things like that are all just growing really well, and I get lots of pollination because of it. So I actually think the borage to have in a garden really helps you with pollinating everything, and you can use the flowers for decorating your plate,
yeah.
and they taste nice as
and
well.
it tastes nice. It's complementing. I usually like to use the microgreens and the flowers, which is complete my plate.
Yeah. Well, you make a big
It's-
difference when you put flowers like this on. You can see it's got some design to it and an element of beauty that it doesn't have without it.
And I just give a little bit of this dressing,
Yeah, fantastic.
and It's a simple but very refreshing
Let's get a
dish. Let's get
knife
into
and
it,
fork and
right?
have a little taste,
Let's
shall
get
we?
into it.
We use again.
I can see how excited you are.
We'll use these.
I know.
Hold on
how
one
it
sec.
is.
Yeah, these. I shouldn't have bought these. Yes, we understand. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Basically, I bought these because I thought they looked nice, but actually they're not very sharp. And they actually are unpleasant to hold as well. So I kind of failed all the way on that. But what I don't fail is on showing people the plate that you've just designed. So even though they get very stressed with me in here sometimes, they forget that we're professionals, don't they? But as you can see, a beautiful plate, looks absolutely fantastic. We'll put it here, and then what we'll do is move that out of the way. We'll have a little taste and see what we think. And after you, madame. I want to see how you would attack this yourself first of all. Go for it.
Well, I just because it's not cutting the. Well,
it's all right, doesn't it? It's not too bad, yeah.
It's actually well. You have to eat together all because that's how in your mouth it's gonna melt.
Don't you want a little flour there as well? Let's get a flour in there for you.
A little flour.
Yeah, there you go. What do you think? Are you proud of yourself? Right, let me. I quite like the little vene leaf.
You know,
and I'm going to go crazy on the cucumber because I love cucumber.
The bitterness of the Campari.
Wow.
And the sweet and the cucumber.
And the lemon.
And the dressing.
The dressings. Do you know what? The dressing brings everything together.
Exactly.
The dressing is what we like to call in the kitchen about balance. And I've got a friend out there who I'll send this to. Balance. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, yes, it's about balance.
I'm
a Libra myself, so I like the balancing all the.
But sometimes,
taste.
I mean, you're right. Putting it all together with a scallop and everything together is how it should be tasted.
Exactly.
But I'm one of those. When I was a kid, whenever we had like an apple crumble with custard, I like to have it all separated. So I'd have two bowls. One would be custard, one would be the apple crumble, and I would eat it separately. And everyone thought I was crazy. They went, "We're going to have problems with this kid later on in life." Little did they know. And of course, they were right. Because they were right, yeah. Because I like to taste. I tasted the scallop before with the Campari. Now I want to taste this on its own with the dressing. I like the different elements to see what they're like.
Yeah.
That's how I get my flavour profiles of things. I sort of really understand the flavour when you do that. Having it all together and now having the elements separate is quite nice. I love the cucumber with that, just on its own. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, really, really nice.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you.
And the thing about simple dishes is you're using good produce.
That's the key, you know. That's the key. You have to use the freshest ingredients and good ingredients, and then you have those. After that, it's easy to put together. Well, you need your imagination.
You need imagination, but I've always said you need amazing produce, because if you've got great produce to start with, you have a chance.
Well, you know, we are here in south of France, so
it's
the easiest.
I'm not going to go on again about. I'm going about it every single week. If you're here, why would you not buy local fresh produce? If I was a billionaire on my yacht or in my villa, why would you not want the best local produce? It's a no-brainer.
Exactly.
If I was in the UK, I'm going to want British raspberries. If I'm in France, I'm going to want raspberries from here. They're beautiful, they're fresh, the flavour's amazing.
But when you are in the States, you want fresh.
You want it from Europe as well. When you're in America, you also want raspberries from France, to be honest with you. But that's another thing altogether, isn't it? We could go down the deep hole of why America. I was watching Joe Rogan recently, and he had been to Italy, and he said they were doing some event, and afterwards the guy said to him, "Are you hungry?" He said, "Yeah." He goes, "Let's go and have pizza." And he went, "I can't eat pizza at 11 o'clock at night. He went, no, you'd be fine.
You are in Europe.
So he went and had it. He said he ate it, and he woke up the next day, and he didn't feel heavy and lethargic and sick. When he does that in the States, he says he just feels horrible the next day.
Well, it's different, you know. My father is a farmer, and he produces wheat, and he told me the gluten level of the wheat back then, like 40-50 years ago, was much lower than now. Now it's so high because the wheat is more resistant for everything if the gluten free. So it's like they make it high, the
Yeah.
gluten level, and also what they use in the flours, they add all those additional things to make more, I don't know,
Well, sustainable
sellable,
against
accessible,
disease and to last
exactly.
longer and preserve it, things like that.
Exactly, and after in the end you get a very a produce what is has everything in there but not the
Yeah.
original ingredients.
So I have a question
and
for
after
you.
you have a problem with it. Yes.
Do you think that there is this gluten issue that everybody seems to have? Everyone's gluten intolerant. Do you think it's true, or do you think it's just people like to jump on the bandwagon, or do you think there is an issue with the produce?
I think it's issue with the produce, and just like with the milk. You know, when I was a kid, the milk went wrong went bad in 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, in the fridge, even in the fridge.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
After 2 days, it was
Yeah.
gone. Now you buy a milk, and a week later it's
Yeah.
still okay.
You smell it and you think, how can that still be okay? But this is,
It's like,
but for yachting, in some respects, you know, we get people ordering milk and they want 14 days life on it, a fresh product, a fresh milk. Yes, I understand. It's pasteurized, it's been heat processed. It's
Yeah.
not really the same product.
It's not really
is
the
it?
same product. And also, you know, when we are on the boat, we need something. We need a floating supermarket in our
Yeah.
walking fridge,
Yeah.
because that's what we need to be ready for every request what the owner or the guest come up with.
Yeah.
And we cannot say no.
So how do you deal
we
with
have
that? You're
to-
at water. You're at sea.
Well,
You're in a
when
place
I-
you don't know, and
when
somebody
I'm
asks you
going for a longer trip and I know I'm not going to be able provisioning, I basically prepare myself like I'm going onto a war zone. So I just buy everything what I think I know I'm gonna need it.
You like to spend the budget.
And, no, not really that. I'm really cautious, but I like to be prepared, and
Yeah.
I like to be over prepared than under
Yeah.
prepared, because when you get your guest on and they just tell you what they want, and you find out, oh, they are gluten free,
Yeah.
or they are dairy free, and they forget to mention it on the provisioning
preference
list
sheet.
or the preference sheet. And it's like, okay, I still have to be cater for them. So when
Yeah.
we are in the middle of the water, there is no supermarket, there is no one. However, I can call Damian and
Yeah.
ask, bring with the,
Well, you
with the
know,
drones.
I have this
But,
exactly.
yeah.
We can get it to you with a drone, which is great. And I think, you know, we have more and more gluten-free stuff that we stock, and we have to because so many people require it, and it
Yes.
isn't that easy to walk into a supermarket and get good quality gluten-free product.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can get shit
Yeah,
gluten-free
yeah,
product,
exactly.
but if you want good quality gluten-free, there has to be a time element.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of chefs are put in a very difficult situation where they're not given enough time to actually know that the client's gluten-free, and then therefore give someone like me or another company time to get good quality gluten-free. And quite often we have to run around last minute to a shop to pick up what I would classify as not the best.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with you, and I also, because myself I'm intolerant and for the dairy and the gluten as
but
well.
not just to gluten.
Not just the gluten.
people. People reversing down a one-way street, people indicating left and turning right. You're on the
You're
roads a bit,
talking
you know.
about yourself,
Yeah, I'm
right?
talking about me. People that put red fruit with dark
With
chocolate.
the dark chocolate.
You know, that's a
yes,
problem.
we know that, we
Restaurants
know
that
that, we know
advertise
that.
fresh produce when you know it comes out of a packet or out of Metro. I mean, the list goes on of my bugbears in life, but this show is not about that.
This show is about my second dish, which is my other favorite, the second favorite dish. What I was.
How long do you reckon this dish takes? Because I want to play something before we move on to this, because we're talking about fresh food, we're talking about fresh produce, we're talking about local and seasonal, and for me that is such an important thing, and I believe every yacht chef should be focused on that. Yes, I'm a provisioner. I want to deliver to you anywhere. I think in the winter you don't have a choice. You're going to need to bring stuff in.
Yes.
But I think in the summer, putting myself out of business for a minute, but being honest and real, if you're in Corfu, you should find out what's local in Corfu and enjoy
exactly.
playing with that. If you're in Santorini, then you should be using something from Santorini. I'm not saying you can get everything in those places, but as a chef, you want to be using local produce when you can. And that brings me to a little thing we're going to show you now. Over the years, I've just so wanted to have the Riviera Gourmet Gardens. And we built this place a couple of years ago. We moved in last year, and we're gradually getting the outside area, which is one of our garden areas that I had proper soil put in when we built it. We're gradually starting to turn it into a garden and grow some stuff.
Cool.
Going to take time.
Oh yes.
You know that. Only a part of it is dedicated at the moment. The rest is overgrown weeds. But I just want to give everybody a little update on how the garden is going and show you a few things that we've managed to get grown this year. So let's have a little look at the Riviera Gourmet Garden. Saturday kitchen. So I wanted to grow some really cool stuff. So when chefs come and they cook here in the test kitchen, they've got something really, really excellent to use. This is a yellow wild strawberry. They're small, really, really sweet. One of the most amazing strawberries I've ever tasted. So if you're a chef out there and you want to try to cook a really cool dessert with a yellow wild miniature strawberry, then you should come and see us at Riviera Gourmet. We have some Glencoe raspberries coming, which are a violet coloured raspberry, which are just beautiful, double sugar. Lots of other things apart from berries. We have yuzu trees being grown and yuzu bushes, so we can have some fresh yuzu in the winter. Chili peppers from all over the world, all the way from your chipotle, Carolina Reaper, and even stronger. All organic ground. We're not putting any fertilizer in, and I literally can't wait to get these really cool products out there for people to see. At the moment, I'm trying to get hold of some seeds for exploding cucumbers, which are phenomenal. Let's see what we can find, and let's see how this summer's Riviera Gardens go. Well, the summer's here. It's hot out here in June now. Over here we have something which chefs absolutely love, chamomile flowers. Just looks like a normal little daisy, but when you smell it, fresh flavour comes through. Drying it and using it in your tea is absolutely fantastic. We've got some lemon thyme and some normal thyme. A little bit of oregano here. So fresh. That's actually Vietnamese coriander. Really good for Asian cuisine. And what I do with this is I just break it up and put it over my salad, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's got that little coriander smell in the background. I can't imagine anybody not living their life having a nice vervain fresh leaf tea. Stewardesses, chefs, if you can have potted plants somewhere on the vessel, it just changes everything. It's really, really nice. Rosemary plant. I'm hoping that will grow nice and big. A little mint plant, because I love a bit of mint tea sometimes. Let me get some more water. Yep.
Just cranberries without sugar. Is this okay?
Okay, Sea Burger, I would have presumed they've got sugar in that. We can buy a different product at the usual place, and that would be 250, 500 gram bag, and it would be completely dried, no sugar. Basically, if it's got sugar in, it's going to completely change his dish. He'll want to choose the sugar content himself rather than have Sea Burger decide. So it's much better if we don't give those to a chef because of that. And always check the label for sugar content. Cool. For me, sage is something I like in the winter, and I mix it with my pork mince, a few other herbs to make a really nice sort of sausage roll filling. This is a Japanese wineberry. I think it's going to be another 2 weeks before these come out. This is a Glencoe raspberry. For all those of you who think it might come from Scotland, you'd be wrong. French berry, and it is absolutely amazing. Now these are new plants, so the first year you grow this, they're not going to grow particularly well. Almost flowery rose and lavender flavour. If you ever get hold of a Glencoe raspberry, they are fantastic. The problem is these don't crop as well, which means if you grow them commercially, you're not going to make a lot of money, which is why people don't crop them very much commercially. Wild strawberries, these are not your normal red. This is the colour they come out at. It's like candy, but it's got a different sweetness to it, which I think is what makes it special. Maybe another 3 or 4 weeks, start of July, we can come back, and I think we're going to find a bumper crop of yellow alpine or yellow wonder wild strawberries. Come back and see us soon. We do our next review of the garden. But at the moment, back to the kitchen. Saturday kitchen. Okay, so we're back in the kitchen now, and it's quite nice to grow a garden and actually go out and feel the soil, grow some really cool stuff and have some flavours that basically you just can't buy in the shops. A lot of heirloom stuff you would not be able to buy in the shops. You can get basic stuff.
You can tell this one to a girl who grew up on a farm.
There we go, yeah. But it's, yeah, exactly, you know the score. I think a lot of people haven't had that experience. I know when I was a kid we grew a lot of raspberries and strawberries, we had chickens, we did all this kind of stuff. In fact, we had a garden, and the local police used to come round whenever a wild animal had been caught or let out. And they used to bring donkeys, goats. I come from the Isle of Man, so all of a sudden the police would turn up with a van and and come to the house and say, have you got room for a goat for a few days? We found it wandering the streets in Douglas.
Wow.
And so we'd have this goat there eating everything in the garden for a few days. So I'm quite used to that, but I love having a garden here, and I think
and
over the next...
end up in a good
yeah, yeah.
Make a stew
So I think it's cool, and I'm hoping that, you know, as the years go by, we'll be able to have more of these shows, and instead of chefs sort of request certain food, they'll go to the garden and choose what they want to use, and sort of go, yeah, I'm just going to make something up on the day, and I think it'd be quite a cool way to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So what are we having now?
Now is my favorite dish, which is ratatouille.
Okay. So what is it about this dish that...
What about this dish? Like, look at those colors, all those vegetables. What you put it in. I'm gonna put under the camera.
A taste of your red pepper.
And
Do you want me to tell you which country it's from?
It's from the market.
I'm disappointed.
It's from the market.
It's not French. Can you tell? And there's a few reasons why I know that. One, the size. This is probably Spanish, I would say.
Yeah.
You can tell by the colour and the size. You can also tell the Dutch ones are usually lighter red, and there's zero flavour. And the French ones are usually bigger with a funny shape, and they've got a really strong flavour. And I'm really a staunch believer that French farming is one of the best, one of the best places in the world for it.
I agree with you.
I love it. A lot of these peppers these days are grown.
Even the
in a way, it's not,
red onion.
I mean, if you were blindfolded, you wouldn't know what that was.
If you try the.
I'm very critical.
Well, it's a little bit salty now.
Courgette.
Yeah, because I leave it in the salty
dries
water.
quickly, doesn't it?
I leave it in the salty water, so it's not gonna get. It's gonna get out this bitter flavor. So what I'm gonna do with
Let's have a look.
What I'm gonna do with
Got your glasses? I can't see.
I can give you. Like, oops.
What? Oh wow. Okay, I can see now. Yeah. So where is this one from? Let's have a look. What? Let's have a look. This is Tunisian. Interesting. Okay. Nice. Can I taste?
Yeah, you can taste them.
These
You're
are
gonna
quite
give
fun,
me
aren't they?
shit anyway. This
I'm
is a fun glasses, yes.
Big fan of olive oil.
Like I know, I heard that. You want a little spoon? To spoil it, you can use that over the pan.
Let's have a little taste. I'm a big olive oil fan.
I'm gonna use it for the oil anyway. But first,
What are you using this one for?
I'm gonna make a green oil. But first, before I'm gonna start this one, I'm gonna make a goat cheese foam. Because I'm gonna serve my ratatouille with the goat cheese foam.
So how do you make a goat's cheese foam? How do you do it? How do you make a foam, for that matter?
Well, there is different way to do foams. For this one, I'm gonna use goat cheese cream, and I'm gonna put it in a siphon.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be my espuma today.
Okay.
But you can whip it. You can use whip goat cheese if you prefer.
Yeah. So the first thing you do is obviously give it a good whiz with the hand mixer.
Yeah, you have to mix it well. And after I sieve it, because I put it in the siphon, and I don't want if it's stuck in the middle of the service, and your foam is not that's not the right moment. But it happens.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
with the siphon it happens. And then when the moment comes, you have those longer spoons. So anyway, you can get it out from the siphon. Yes. So this is it.
Do you want to give me that?
Yep. I'm just gonna send through in this very fine skin sieve.
So basically what you're going to do now is put that into your siphon.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the siphon, and I'm just gonna put it in the fridge for a couple of. You can make it before, like an hour, 2 hours before,
One of the
or
things
even the previous night if you want.
Would you do it the previous night and leave it in the fridge?
Well, I don't like it, but yeah,
Sometimes it's
you can.
necessary depending on the
Sometimes.
situation. I mean, I'm a big fan of cleaning my hand mixer immediately. I know it's just one of those things that I've always done. Whenever I use one, the first thing I do, doesn't matter when I clean it, and I put it.
Appreciate you do that. You can come
then
with me on the boat.
but I know it sounds silly, but whenever I'm cooking, you always need something like that 2 or 3 times maybe.
Yes.
And there's nothing worse than something drying on it. And then when you need it, you're having to clean it, and actually you lose time, don't you? And a quick clean is the first thing I do when I use it.
Well, that's why I have
habit of
the
mine.
second hand
That's why you
mixer
got
for
2.
now in the show, because I can throw this one in the dishwasher. Can you just make sure it's stronger? Something
Nice and
wrong
tight.
with my right hand, and I.
Yes, when I loosen it now, don't tell her.
Yeah. And we're gonna blow up the goat cheese foam on the show.
Have you ever had any accidents with a siphon?
Thank God not, but.
I've seen one explode. I saw
Oh,
that happen
you
in the
had
kitchen
one.
once. Yeah.
Oh,
It wasn't near me, but I tell you what, the noise was quite severe and
it's scary.
scared the living
Yeah.
out of me. Yeah.
So sometimes I just do one cartridge, but sometimes I use
Yeah.
2. Now I'm gonna try with one. So
Okay. Cool.
let's see what we're gonna get when.
Let's see what happens.
What happens.
And now you're going to put the other items together.
And now.
So this is raw.
This is raw, yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna start to cook the ratatouille.
Okay.
And while the ratatouille is cooking, I'm gonna make a green oil.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn this one on and unlock it.
Yeah. It keeps locking
Yeah,
for some
it's
reason. I don't know why.
It's okay.
First time I started it, I was what's
What's
LO
going
mean?
on? Well, because it's low, right?
Yeah.
It's low. I mean, it's low temperature or what? No, it's locked. So.
And we're gonna use this pan today. Now these guys sent us the pan a while ago now, but obviously as the seasons start to kick in, we've had lots of things going on. But I promised them we'd try it out. I tried it last week. I actually really like it. I have several different pans. I have a Tefal pan. I've got all sorts of different stuff. I've never tried this before. It's quite thin. It's not as heavy as one of those Tefal pans, but it heats up quickly, which I think is a massive advantage sometimes. It's got a non-stick surface on it, which isn't Teflon. It's natural, so that's quite nice.
Is it non-stick? You tried it, it's
Yeah.
non-stick.
I was going to
And
do an egg in it.
when you do a steak, is the
You don't really get that pattern on it.
no pattern?
No.
Okay.
Because it looks like it might.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't have a pattern at all, no. But
Okay.
it would actually be quite a nice pattern. It's like a fish scale pattern, isn't it?
On your meat, I don't want a fish scale. Do you?
Well, you were lucky then because it didn't do it, so so you're
Do
okay.
you? I really don't want that.
You don't want a fish scale pattern on your
No,
meat,
no,
but it
no,
does
no,
make it
no,
look a
no.
bit different if it did do that.
No.
But yeah, I want to know your opinion of the pan when you had a little play with it. This is the first time you've used it. And
Yes,
I think that's
for me
always a
it's
good
the
test.
first time, so let's see.
Do you want the
Well,
pan on?
Yeah, I did it. No, it's
okay.
turned off.
What do you want it on?
Like, let's go 6. You said it's.
I used 7, and
yeah.
it was because it wasn't
The-
because it's thinner than I'm used to. That's on
that's the
that
top one.
Because it's
I turned
because
the other
it's
one.
because it's thinner than a normal pan. It heats up much quicker, so you're getting a lot more heat a lot quicker. I actually think in a busy kitchen that's quite handy sometimes.
Okay. Well, we're gonna see that one. We can turn the other one as well because I want hot water in the other.
I'll put it
What?
up high, okay?
Yes, please.
Get it moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna put the onion first.
Right.
I love red onion and the garlic.
Yeah.
Garlic is one of my favorite,
Fantastic.
and it's a really good antibiotic. You know that natural.
Yeah, yeah.
Natural antibiotic. So when you're sick, guys, just have a garlic in the morning and in the evening, and it helps.
So you're just going to sweat this off a little bit. And what's
Yeah,
the,
I'm
what's,
gonna-
so what are you with a ratatouille? I mean, I remember ratatouille from the movie.
Well, that's a different one. You know, Thomas Keller did that.
The layered.
That's layered one. For me, I prefer this one. It's like I
Okay.
think it's meeting all the flavor in your mouth if you just cut it a small cubes as I did
Yeah.
in
And
this
do
one.
you like the movie?
Oh, one of my favorite cooking movies, the Ratatouille.
Do you think Chef Gusto is correct and anyone can cook?
No, I don't agree on that one. You need heart, you need imagination,
Yeah.
you
Skill.
you need to have your heart
Technical.
in there, exactly.
Technical
Because
ability.
you can learn the technique, you know, but if your spirit is not there,
I think, yeah,
then,
basically.
but it's everything is like that. Okay.
Click that. Where do you want
Okay.
it to fit?
Yeah, a little bit slower. Yeah.
It does cook quickly in this pan, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And you
it's,
can smell it straight away. You can see, you can smell the caramelization of the onion
Exactly.
very
That's
quickly.
why I like
Yeah.
maybe a little bit lower, but it's a good pan. I will test it. You guys see it? Like it's good. It's good. It's not sticking, so
It's not sticking at all, is it?
it's good. Let's see how it's caramelized my.
Yeah. And
my,
I love the movie as well. And I think years ago I used to think, wow, anybody can cook. And then as I started to cook more myself, I realised that I know I used to love that phrase, anybody can cook. It's true, anybody can cook, but not everyone can cook well. I always thought if you can read, you can cook. But it turns out that a lot of people that can read can't cook. So I was wrong on both levels. And it's taken me to this ripe old age to realise that cooking isn't easy. You know, provisioning's easy. I mean, you give me a list, I buy it, I deliver it to you, you're happy. Cooking the food is very, very hard. You've got maybe 12 guests. They've all got different taste buds, different flavour profiles they like and don't like. And you've got to fit that every day for 12
well, you
people.
know,
That's hard.
I feel much more easier the guest cooking than the crew cooking.
Really?
Because you have 12 different nationalities, for example, on a 50-meter boat,
Yeah.
12 crew, okay? 12 different nationality. Everyone has a different
Vegan,
taste
gluten-free,
bud.
dairy-free.
Just one thing, they have a different dietary request, but you know, they grow up with different food. And you want to please the Jamaican, the American,
Yeah.
the British, the French. You want to make something good for them. And obviously you cannot win every time. But what I find very fair, I usually cook for the watchkeeper preference. So everyone has their own
Okay.
home type of food.
That's
so
quite a nice way to do it.
I usually ask them, what would you like to eat if you go home? What would you
Yeah.
ask your mom to make for you? And usually they give me some ideas. So it's good for me too. It's easier because I cook. I have idea what to cook,
Yeah.
and it's make them happy as well.
We're always making one person happy every day at least.
Exactly, and
And
everyone
everyone
has
gets their
has its turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fair with everyone.
Yeah, I quite
you know?
like that. That's a good idea. I'd
know?
never heard of somebody planning their crew meals around whoever's on watch. But it's
Well-
a great idea. I love it.
As I said, I want to be. I want to make everyone's happy, but you cannot.
You've
make
used your
everyone
knowledge
happy and the same.
of the corporate banking world and you've moved it into chef and you've moulded the two together to give a common sense cooking concept,
Well,
which
I
a lot
think-
of yachts will love.
I think that's what helps me on the way to
Yeah.
plan with the planning, all the planning,
Yeah.
because when you go on a charter, you have to plan way
Yeah.
ahead. When you are on a daily basis, you have to have like 2-3 plan on
Do you think
the
it's
go.
like a ideally chefs, if you think about it, should be amazing chess players, shouldn't they? They
well,
should be.
I don't
Because you've got to
I
plan
don't
ahead.
like. I don't
You've
like
got to have
chess.
your moves sorted out. You've got to be organised, haven't you? You've got to be, well, on Tuesday I'm going to have this ready because otherwise it won't work on Thursday. And so you're always planning ahead. I think chess players and chefs are in the same area.
Well, I don't know if there is any game like for war games.
There's a
No.
game called Risk. There's a
When-
board game
when-
called Risk, which is very similar
when
as well.
you have to plan ahead of the time, because that's what we do, and you
Yeah.
have to be ready for, you know, the plan is always to change the plan.
Yeah.
That's the main plan.
That's
but
so true. I've never heard that, but it's absolutely true. The plan is to always change the plan.
it's exactly.
Where did you first
So-
hear that?
I don't know. I think for me it was just like, okay, so this is the plan. And I was just thinking, okay, so the plan is always to change the plan. So what's the plan?
It's so true. I mean, we have that definitely in provisioning. You know, we make a plan today for tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
But by 7 a.m.
it's
it's changed. And I always tell everybody that. I say, you know, the plan's the plan, follow the plan, but be prepared for the plan to move and change.
Exactly.
Because
Well,
it's
on
going.
a boat is always like that,
Yeah.
you know, because Catherine said, oh, Victoria, we're going to Ibiza tomorrow, we're
Yeah.
going to be there. Okay, so I'm planning like, oh, I can pick up some fresh fish or
Yeah, yeah.
something on the shore and blah, blah, blah. And the next morning, because we are overnight passage, next morning I wake up in Portofino.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like,
Absolutely,
okay,
yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, no problem. I'm just gonna call a different number and cancel the other one, which is like, yeah, but you have to be flexible, otherwise don't work on a boat.
Yeah, absolutely. And in reality, don't work in the industry. I mean,
Exactly.
doesn't matter whether you're land on the sea, but if you're not interested in change, it's not going to work for you.
By the way, this salt is awesome.
You like it?
Oh my god, yeah, this is awesome.
I
You see
prefer
that?
it. I prefer it to Malden myself, and the reason is because I find it softer, and I also find that it's not as salty.
Not that salty,
Over
yeah, not
salting
that like.
food is the worst thing you can do. You know,
Yeah.
it just makes it unedible if that happens. And I think, and you know, somebody said to me, "Oh, but Malden's a natural product," and I said, "I'm sorry, but I just don't agree that you can make that many tons of salt in a natural process.
No.
I just don't. I mean, you know, if I'm wrong, Malden, give me a shout, invite me round, let's come and see you. I'll come to your factory or whatever, I'll have a look. But I'm just not a believer you can turn out, I mean, how many tons? Maybe,
Oh, well,
maybe
sure
look,
you can, yeah.
hey,
Yeah,
you
it's an
look
interesting
up on your
question.
phone how many tons of Malden salt is produced every year. I'd love to know, because I don't think you can do that without putting it through a very particular process. That's
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah.
I don't know,
agree with
maybe
you.
I'm wrong.
We're gonna make green oil on that side as well. Now I use parsley and basil,
Yeah.
but as I said, you
Again,
can use a different.
Beautiful smell, isn't it?
yeah,
And fresh when you do
yeah,
that.
you can use a different herbs.
Yeah.
It's only need a couple of seconds.
You're just blanching it quickly.
Blanch it,
Beautiful.
and
I love that smell.
after you can put
Now,
it in.
have we got any sticking?
No.
I can't
It's
see it
good,
sticking
yeah,
at all.
right? It's awesome. Yeah, maybe this gonna be the pan when I go for my next boat
Yeah.
for a longer term. But I'm looking for
I can't even pronounce it. It's Tayama.
just be careful.
Tayama. Let me look. Tayama. Yeah, it's got to be Tayama. Why am I trying to say it in an Italian accent? Tayama. But yeah, this pan's. I think this is going to be my pan for the future too. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to live on the internet slate any other pans or mention any others. I just think this is a really nice pan. So what are we looking at? Let's have a look. Malden Sea Salt doesn't publicly release updated annual figures. Of course they don't. But approximately 2,755 tonnes per year are being produced. That's about 10 million boxes annually, roughly 60% of which were exported. Before scaling up, okay, that's irrelevant. They were doing 600 to 700 tonnes a year, and you've gone from 600 to 700 tonnes a year to 2,755. I'm meeting a friend of mine from Malden tomorrow night for dinner. We're going to talk about this. We're going to have a little chat about
Malden salt.
doubling their capacity like that. Crazy. Thank you, Kate. That's quite interesting information. I think if you're producing that much of anything, it's very difficult to do it fully natural. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. If you're watching Malden, give me a shout. Invite me round. Let me come and have a look.
I'm using
I'm
my
interested
own
in salt.
tomatoes.
So where did you get your tomatoes from?
Well, I bought a tomato yesterday,
From
and
which country are they from?
well, I hope it's France.
Yeah.
Because I went to the Provence market, so I'm not.
Sorry, so whoa. Just let's
Ooh.
talk about Provençal markets.
Yeah, in Antibes.
Right.
I love it. However,
Okay.
you know the
No, I love it too. I think it's great. I think if you're out here, you need food, like local, fresh food, quickly. But it's not always local, of course. It could come from anywhere, and there's not necessarily information about that on the produce.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to a supermarket, they have to put the origin. If you go to the local market, they don't. So that's one issue. I do love the provincial markets. I think it's really nice to go. If you're on holiday somewhere, you go to the local market, you're going to see fruit and veg from the region. But you're also going to find people there who aren't selling fruit and veg from the region. They're kind of pretending a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be very aware of that when you go anywhere in the world. You know, you're going to have to be careful.
Where the produce come from, yes.
Yeah, you just never know. So for me, learning more about the fruit and the vegetables is like a super important part of choosing the vegetables, you know?
Yeah.
But this smells amazing, doesn't it? Wow.
Thanks.
It looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. I love the colour of it. I might have to try the Ratatouille from the movie one day. I've never made it.
Well,
Not the layered
yeah,
one.
the
It's
layered
Thomas
one.
Keller, isn't
yeah,
it?
Thomas Keller. Yeah, Thomas
But
Keller. It's an interesting dish, I think. I never tried it. However, as I said, I love the ratatouille, but I never tried it. I like the original way.
Yeah.
And you know that dish was a dish for poor people. Ratatouille was a dish for
We're
the
all
poor
poor.
people.
I'm poor. I love ratatouille.
And
I love I like pies and steak pies, and I love beef bourguignon. And every country has its dish, which, you know, now they claim it was peasant food. But in reality, I don't think it. I mean, maybe it was cheaper to make, but it's definitely got flavour and got, you know, layered flavour, which is what's so important in food.
You know, when they didn't have a lot ingredients, it's actually give a good things on the dish, because you don't spoil it with different spices and everything. That's my thing with a fusion kitchen. You know, sometimes it's, as we talk about it, it's confusion, not a fusion, because so many things in that plate, it's just not right in the end.
So you call it confusion rather than fusion food. It's
Yeah.
quite funny because I know I've been to a few restaurants where they've called it fusion, and some of it just doesn't
And
work.
it was confusing.
It was very
end, right?
confusing. I
Yeah.
didn't enjoy it. I didn't feel like I'd had a great meal. I understand what chefs are trying to do, but you've really got to be on your game to be able to fuse different cuisines together and get it right. You know,
Exactly.
it's not as easy as it sounds. You can't just put anything on the plate and say, well, it's fusion. It has to be
we
thought through.
talked
You know?
about it, like we have to think together, and that's sometimes I just imagine different flavors together, and when I try, it's like, okay, it works. Sometimes when you imagine and you try, it's like,
It doesn't
it's
work.
not the thing what I was
I've done that
I was
a lot.
expecting.
I've done that a lot.
Expecting, oh, it's a good idea, but no, you turn out not a good idea.
Yeah.
But trial and error, you know, that's the way.
I've come to the conclusion now, though, if it's a good idea, it probably is a good idea. It was probably the execution that was poor on my side. So therefore, I try again, and I try differently every time until I get it right.
That's a good way to create new ideas. But yeah, sometimes I went to a restaurant as well, and you saw all the technique is on the plate. You see foams and powders and everything, and you start to eat, and I don't want to come back.
I think some restaurants do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
They go a bit over the top.
you know, sometimes it's less is more.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
They say.
Yeah.
Oops. Now when we do
There's a no, you're good. There's a knack with this. You want me to do it for you? You relax and tell me what I'm doing.
my two of us to mix
How finely ground do you want it?
It's fine because when we make the cream.
What? What?
What's going on?
What do you think?
I think it's enough. It's more than enough. Thank you.
Okay,
man.
cool. Let me take that out of there and do my usual
and you can
ritual.
wash wash the head of the mixer.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you mix blanch the herbs, whatever herbs you use, after you just use a very fine
Isn't it weird that, like, with all of these things, that's the one thing I need to clean quickly? That's weird, isn't it? We all have our
well,
own little
everyone
things.
has something like
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
and on, you know. That we
You're
are
right, everyone has something. I have a
something
lot of them
all
though, that's the
around.
problem.
And I think it's multiplying by age, you know. We get
Yeah, I
older,
think every
it's like
year
more
I sort of bring
more
it
things.
10 or
Yeah.
12 more
So
random weird things that I
That's
do.
how we make a green oil, and depends on the oil what you use. After that, you can use in different ways. I made some yesterday because it takes like a couple hours when it's
Settles.
settles, and you're gonna end up with this
Beautiful.
nice green oil.
Can I taste?
without-
Can I just taste it on its own?
Well, you can taste that one, you can taste this
Yeah,
one as
let me
well.
taste
Both
this
of
one on its
it's the same. I just did it yesterday, so it's already cleared.
Nice, huh? Nice and clear. Look.
Yeah. Tastes good.
So I have a
Tammy.
basically a lot of. I want to know your opinion. A lot of chefs say to me, "I like to have a neutral oil for this." Why? There's no fun in neutral oil. It's like
Well,
having a standard
No,
coffee.
I rephrase. You use different oil for different purpose. So, for example, with this dish what I'm making, a green oil with olive oil, it's fine. But some of the dish, for example, if I want to make a green mayo, I wouldn't use olive oil because it's make a little bit bitter in the
What would you
end
use?
product.
Sunflower.
Well, sunflower, I'm not a big fan of it. I use colza
Okay.
or I use avocado oil.
Okay.
Something like not so.
But when you're using an olive oil, do you find? Would you prefer to use one for making this sort of thing, which hasn't got huge flavour, or do you think using one with bigger flavour is good? How do you balance it?
I think it all depends what is your end product,
Yeah.
where you want to use it. Because if with this dish, a strong flavor olive oil can go as well.
Yeah.
So you don't need to lower down
Tone
the
down
taste,
the
tone
flavour,
down
yeah.
the flavor. But with other dish, you don't want that. You want something more soft.
Yeah.
So it all depends how you use. What I usually do is it's a very simple oil what I use, because on the boat you use your
Oil
green
for
oil
many
for
different things. Yeah.
It's you can prepare ahead of it. You can prepare a day or two, whatever. It
Yeah.
has a shelf life in the fridge for a week
Yeah.
or
yeah.
even more. Depends on what you put in there.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
and you're gonna use it anyway on different dish and different reason. And as I said, when I use something simple oil, then I can use it for green mayonnaise
Yeah.
as well. So that's why I usually use a simpler one. I
Okay.
think we are getting there
Okay.
with our.
You think we're about there?
Ratatouille.
What do you think of the pan? I love the pan actually.
I love the pan.
I quite
love
like
the
the
pan.
design of the style. I like the style of it. I like the gold handle. I like to have beautiful
It's
things
easy.
around
And you
me.
know you can put it in the oven as well. because
Exactly.
it's-
I love to have beautiful things around me. That to me is a beautiful looking pan.
Mm.
One, that's great. I think chefs love a very visual, a good looking pan is important.
It's always good,
knives
yeah.
are the same, things like that. A lot of Japanese knives, you know, people rave about Japanese knives, but a good, very well bladed German,
Japanese knife,
it's as good. It's just some people love to
Yeah.
have that blade look. I
Well,
get
I
it.
was in Japan because my second cuisine what I really like is Japanese
Okay.
cuisine.
I thought you could say German.
No, Japanese.
Japanese.
And I went to Japan to Tokyo for learning sushi for 5
okay,
weeks
wow.
in a Tokyo Sushi Academy, and I really enjoyed that experience. And yeah, we used the Japanese knife. There was on the beginning it was really hard for me because you know the Japanese knife has
An edge.
on one side
Yeah.
and not in the other
Yeah.
side.
You have to take.
This
Yeah.
garlic is like this. The Japanese one is like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
And,
right. It's like this, but with a flat surface here. Yeah,
exactly.
very different.
And this one is like
It's
this.
this.
Exactly.
Just for the camera.
Yeah,
You all
yeah,
know
yeah.
this, I'm sure. But there'll be people out there that aren't professional chefs. Basically, a normal knife will be like this blade.
Exactly.
Whereas the Japanese knife is a flat blade and it comes in like this, doesn't
Exactly.
it? Not all of them,
And not
but a
all
high
of them,
percentage.
but a traditional Japanese knife. And when you cut the sushi, obviously you have to
Yeah,
play with
the
that
flat line.
edge.
Yeah.
And first, when I was in the school and I started to use the Japanese knife, my sushi was like Manhattan, you know. It was like that. So it's a skill what you
Yeah.
have to learn.
And
when
it's not
you're
just skill;
using,
it's knowledge as well. You need to learn these things, and it's very difficult to learn these things. You need to learn them kind of in a school in Japan. I think these are the perfect place to do it.
Oh yes, and I believe in every cuisine what you learn, you have to learn on the country of the
Yeah.
origin.
Yeah.
That's why I went here. I love French cuisine. That's why I went here for culinary training in France,
Yeah.
because I really my other favorite is the French cuisine. So this is
I mean-
French Mediterranean, I would say.
I'm not a massive fan of French cuisine, but I think, well, I know
Well,
that the
depends
techniques
which
are what you
area,
need.
right?
You need the techniques because the French techniques are really what developed food everywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
So you need the
Exactly.
French techniques, but some of the French traditional dishes I've tried, I'm a bit, I'm not a big fan. You know, the old pig head thing, and I can't remember what's
Well,
it called
we
in
have
French.
that in Hungary
What's it called
too.
in French? I can't remember now.
I don't know the French name. But
Nightmare
we have
pig
those.
head on a plate. I think it
We have
translates
that
into.
in Hungary
I'm
too.
not a fan of that at all. But the technique that is used for these dishes is where you gain the technique for every dish in the world, pretty much. So I think you need to do culinary training, maybe in France, to get those techniques, and then you can become a chef afterwards. That's what I think is important. That's probably what I should probably do.
I
you've
didn't
got
say that.
you got
said that.
you got chili.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Wow,
it's
amazing.
it's not smoked and not really.
It's nice. It's got a smoky flavour. Yeah, nice.
It's from the market too.
Yeah, lovely.
You can taste it.
Yeah,
Taste
no,
it.
I will.
I mean, it's
I was
like.
going to taste it on the dish, but you want me to taste it on its own
And
as well?
because you like to taste separate
Yeah, you're
thing,
right.
you know. That's what you said. So
No, I have to live to that forever. So you got a go cress, which is a coriander cress.
exactly, and it goes with my
Yeah.
dish. So that's why I ask you to
Yeah.
bring some.
Okay, cool.
Goa, because when I use microgreens, as I told you, I'm not just using just for a look. I'm using for the flavor.
Yeah, yeah,
what
of
it's
course.
adding to the dish.
And I think
for
that's so
dish-
true. Yeah.
For this dish, you can use a little coriander
Mm.
flavor. The basil is here, coriander is there.
Yeah.
You get some chili, you get some goat cheese, and herb de Provence is
Yeah.
already in there, and all those lovely vegetables.
Okay.
So,
let's
let's
see.
plate and let's
We've got the camera up above, so we can
let's-
see how this has been plated.
let's see how it's gonna be. And you know, when you have
Such a great dish, isn't it, ratatouille?
oh yeah,
You know?
vegetarian guest
Yeah.
or a vegan
Anybody
guest.
can have it though. That's
Oh,
the
that's-
great thing about it. It
that's
doesn't
awesome.
have to be.
And also, you know, you can put a
Meat in it.
poached egg in there.
Or meat. You
I
could-
wouldn't
you could
put
layer it-
meat, but I would use as a side dish for a lamb, for example. But a poached egg on the top,
Or layered chorizo,
or layer chorizo. Yeah,
just to
you have
get the meat eaters happy.
you have tons of idea to play with. It's a dish what you can play with. Okay, let's see how is our. Oh,
Amazing.
lovely.
Nice, beautiful.
See? That's nice. You take
Nice.
it out. You put some.
Yeah, cool. I love it. I'll hold it up to the camera in a minute, but I'm going to get a fork ready
Oh yeah, you
because I've
should.
got a feeling we're going to probably need some
And
forks in a
there's
second.
some green oil
Beautiful.
on top.
Are we done? Can I hold it
and
up to the
yes,
camera?
You can hold up.
So
to the
look at
camera.
that. I think if anybody received that, they're going to love that dish. It looks absolutely beautiful. And this is just technical stuff done well, isn't it? You know?
And let's dig in.
Let's have a taste.
Oh, I brought some nice
Bread as well.
baguettes.
I should have warmed that up and had a nice bit of
sourdough
smoked
baguette.
butter with a bit of smoked salt.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you what we should do.
Let's
have
do
a bit.
that.
Should we do it? Well, why don't we just have bread with nice olive oil and a bit of salt, some smoked salt.
Okay.
Should we try
let's
that?
do
I think that goes
Let's
quite
do
well.
that.
Get the smoked salt. I'll get you a little dish as well, so we can put it on there and then pour some olive oil in. And maybe we should try the rinsed on the Spetica olive oil, which I think you'll love.
Okay.
So let's get this one. This is like probably the nicest
It's
olive
your
oil
olive oil.
you've ever had in your life. I think most people adore this when they taste it. It's just beautiful. I'll leave it there so people can see right in the way. Quite annoying, aren't I? But
Well, as I said, I'm gluten intolerant, but I
Are you
cannot
really?
say no
What
for
happens?
a nice.
what happens?
Well, I'm bloating.
Awful things.
Yeah, I'm bloating. Yeah, I'm when I'm sharing a cabin, I'm not
Yeah.
eating.
So basically, don't share a cabin with anyone who's gluten intolerant.
you can taste the bread.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of that to start with. For me, when I go into a restaurant and they bring bread over, I like it to be warm. I like the olive oil to say we give a shit, and I like it to be salt. And I hate that ionized one, which is just almost, you know, the horrible, cheap.
And it's
Use also
clear
salt.
your taste buds.
There's nothing that says.
You don't taste anything after that.
There's nothing that says never come back to my restaurant again than shit olive oil, terrible salt, and cold bread. But that's just me. Maybe I'm
Well,
wrong.
let's see if you're gonna come back and taste my dish, and you're gonna come back.
Well,
to
you have
my
to go
de-
first.
To my restaurant.
When are we opening?
To my restaurant.
This looks fantastic. What a lovely dish. Let's have a taste. This is when I go, oh, it tastes awful, doesn't it?
I just love it. You know, this is
Wow.
for me a summer. Everything is in there.
And from the movie, when Igor talks about how it brings all his memories back, as soon as you
And this
taste
one is like
Ratatouille the first time, your brain does go to those feelings, those lovely umami flavours that you didn't even know were umami when you first tasted
Yeah.
it. It's got a nice warmth to it. It's not so hot that you're like, oh, it's
No.
hot. It's got a lovely warmth to it. Everything about it says comfort food. And I think, especially in the summer, a starter like this, or like you said,
as
on
I
the
said,
side
a
dish,
main or a side dish, or
It's
for
not-
a vegetarian as a
or for a
main.
vegetarian, it's not too much, is it? It's just enough, and it's not, you know, like nobody wants to eat bolognese really in the middle of the summer. It's too
No.
heavy.
No.
This is almost a vegetarian style. Same tomato flavours in the background. Nice, smooth flavours which you can get on. You can drink a glass of rosé with this. You don't have
yes.
to have red wine. Really lovely. And that first flavour, especially with the goat's cheese,
With the goat
Oh.
cheese, yeah. With the
absolutely
goat cheese.
perfect.
And
Yeah.
you feel the basil in the green oil.
This is my kind of food. I can literally, we can just turn the cameras off and I can just eat this
Live on it.
because I haven't had any lunch today. So, it's fantastic. So what's
Super.
next for you this summer?
Well, next week I'm gonna do a little gastro adventure. I organize a little trip for Hungarians to come over,
Oh wow!
and I'm gonna cook in on the Ocean Wave Kitchen with them.
Oh, down
for
on
2
Antibes,
days
yeah.
with them.
Great.
Yeah, in Antibes. We're gonna go in the market in the morning. We're gonna shop and we're gonna cook and we're gonna eat what we cook. And the next day we're gonna do again.
Wow.
And then on the third day and the fourth day we're gonna go around and see other markets, and we're gonna try different food and flavors. So we're gonna go to a market in the morning. You
Yeah.
know, when they already start to cook all those yummy things, so you can go there and you taste. And that's the plan. Or we go to Nice. We will see what we're
Yeah.
gonna do. So that's my
That's next.
my
next
my
few days.
side business. What I started just as a pilot mode next week, and see how it goes. And I also open for a rotational position because I have so many things in my
Yeah.
life to going. So rotational position give the freedom what
Yeah.
the freelance gives, but it's also give a stability what I'm looking for, because to be a freelance chef, it's so good. You go different places, fun with different crew, and the hard part is I'm traveling half of my kitchen because you go to a kitchen where is no equipment, or half of the equipment doesn't work, or it's not the
not
equipment
ideal.
what you used to. And if you are on a rotational position, you have the freedom on your off and have the stable kitchen when you are on. So that's my dream and the next step on my career, to go on a bigger boat and be a sous chef, or on a 60, 65 meter, maybe a head chef. But after that, I would love to learn from other chefs as well. So
I think it's the best
we'll
way to learn in the industry, is definitely learn from other chefs who've experienced it and gone through it.
Exactly.
If anybody wants to contact you and get in touch with you, I think we'll have your details at the bottom of this show, so people can click on and find you.
I also have my own website, victoriafenier.com, so
we'll make sure we put that down there as well.
People can contact me on there.
I think this has been really fun today, and it's really nice food. And for me, this is a dish of the day. I absolutely love it. So thank you so much for coming.
So much.
And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've had a good time here on Saturday Yacht Kitchen. We'll be back soon. In fact, next week we have another huge episode. So if you want to come back or find out more, go to our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow us on our Instagram page, and of course, any more details you need, you can get in touch with me through our WhatsApp number any time of the day or night. But thank you very much to Chef Victoria. It's been absolutely fantastic.
It's
our first female chef in the kitchen, our first of many, and let's look forward to the next few months of another more beautiful dishes. You put the level up here. It's going to be difficult for you guys to beat that. But we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us on Saturday Yacht Kitchen.
Thank you.